in the studio, Brigadier General Winfried Jandu Hedido. He's the Director General of the International Peace Support Operations. Brigadier General, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
He's here with Colonel William Kweku Abochi, Director, Investigations, Ghana Headquarters at the International Peace Support Operation. Colonel, thank you for joining us as well.
Thank you for having us.
It's great to have men in uniform sit with us today, because there's one Ghanaian who's made us all proud in Sudan and South Sudan, who is going to receive a prize. She will be getting the 2022 UN Military Gender Advocate of the Year Award from the UN Secretary General. And so we want to say a massive shout to Captain Cecilia Ezwa today on this award that you got, making all of us proud. We are proud of you, and we want you to keep doing more so that Ghana's name will still be held in high esteem around the globe. Remember that Ghana is the largest contributor of women peacekeepers in the world. The whole world, when we send peacekeepers, we send the highest number. Currently, the number is at 375 female peacekeepers from Ghana alone, to the whole world, maintaining the peace of the world. And Captain Cecilia Ezwa, the young 32-year-old, picking up that honorable prize of Military Gender Advocate of the Year, to be presented by the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Thursday. Congratulations to you once again, Cecilia. Captain, for all your achievements. I'm sure your Brigadier General and the Colonel are also very, very proud of you. But let's talk about peace mission. If you want to comment about Cecilia's one, that's fine. But let's talk about peacekeeping in general. The world has become very much in need of peace because we hear of conflicts every day. What does it mean to be a peacekeeper in the world today?
Okay. Thank you once again. Let me start by quoting from Matthew 5:9, the good book of the Bible, that blessed are the peacemakers, for they are the children of God.
So in this case, blessed are the peacekeepers.
Yes, blessed are the peacekeepers. So peacekeeping generally is a unique global partnership between the General Assembly, the Security Council, the UN Secretariat, troop and police contributing countries, as well as host nations that are combined in an effort to bring about international peace and security. So it's a mechanism that deploys and sustains troops and police with their civilian counterparts around the world in order to advance multi-dimensional mandates of peacekeeping.
So it's not just fighters who go on peacekeeping missions?
Not at all. We have civilians as well who play their role in multi-dimensional ways to keep the peace.
What kind of civilian roles are there in the peacekeeping process?
Yes, like I indicated, for the military, they do theirs, police do theirs, civilians support in political affairs, in gender matters, human rights, logistics support, and a lot of the other duties that you will notice that will support the troop contributors specifically to achieve their mandate.
Where would we be without peacekeepers, Colonel?
Thank you very much. With the complexity of the world these days, conflicts rising everywhere, we cannot do without peacekeepers, because the UN Charter, Chapter 6 especially, mandates the UN to ensure international peace and security. And as long as conflicts remain in the world, intrastate and interstate, the world will definitely need peacekeepers.
Intrastate and interstate, break that down for us.
Interstate conflicts are conflicts between two nations, as it's happening in Russia and Ukraine now. And intrastate conflicts are those happening within countries, like we have in the Democratic Republic of Congo. All this require peacekeepers, but with different mandates. Now, I can go ahead to say what peacekeepers try to achieve. When we speak about peacekeeping, the origins, we try to achieve ceasefires, guarantee ceasefires, and support political process towards peace. But as peacekeeping was becoming more complex and multidimensional, other roles came to the fore, like protection of civilians, supporting the rule of law, conducting security sector reforms, doing demobilization, disarmament, and reintegration of former combatants, all towards achieving lasting peace between those states or within those states. The peacekeepers were deployed.
How many peacekeepers do we have around the world? And what is Ghana's role in that grand scheme of things?
Yeah. So peacekeepers around the world come from everywhere, and the numbers over the period are more than 2 million since we started in 1948. And these come from various countries for both military and police. Ghana, our role in peacekeeping dates as far back as the 1960s, when President Nkrumah decided to deploy us in the Congo, Leopoldville, to help them stem the Kitangese problems. Currently, we are the 10th troop contributing country, and for police as well. And we have as many as 2,789 uniformed personnel serving in the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL. We are also in the South Sudan. We are in Abie, UNISFA, where Captain Ezua excelled. We are also in MINUSMA in Mali, where we provide an engineering company to help in the activities. We are in Congo, MONUSCO. We are in Syria, Cyprus, and Western Sahara, Libya, and Somalia, where we provide military observers and staff officers. I should say that Ghana has become synonymous to peacekeeping, which puts us on the map of the world in all that we do. We've been in Africa, and preferably I should say that our position in Liberia, Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire is so pronounced, and the history is there for everybody to see.
In an ideal situation, we want all the peacekeepers to go, keep the peace, and come back home. But there are some who don't make that journey home, and you have the unfortunate situation where they have to be brought back to their families as heroes, what I would say. Tell us about some of them, Colonel.
Peacekeeping is a dangerous business. You operate in very difficult situations, and peacekeeping operates based on some principles. These are consent, impartiality, and non-use of force, except when attacked. Now, when these elements, any of these elements are not present, peacekeepers fall. For example, in the Republic of Congo, in 1961, the Port Francais massacre, where 43 Ghanaian peacekeepers were massacred. Their interior minister came to announce to the local army that they are the source of the instability and they will use UN to disarm them. This enraged the forces to attack the UN peacekeepers, killing 49, 43 of them being Ghanaians. So far, the United Nations has sustained about 4,291 fatalities. Ghana, as we speak, since we started peacekeeping, sustained 150. Like I said, 49 of them from a single operation, that is UN mission in Congo in the 1960s. The next mission where we sustained a lot of casualties was United Nations Interim Mission in Lebanon, UNIFIL, where we sustained about 37 casualties over the years. This is followed by UN mission in Sierra Leone and Liberia, where we had 9 casualties each. These are our heroes. We need to recognize them because they gave their lives for lasting peace for the world. And it is very difficult, but these are things we accept as the military when we move ourselves to secure peace for our brothers elsewhere in the world.
What happens to the families of those who fall? Are they taken care of?
Yes, the United Nations have a package for compensation for families whose dear ones fell during peacekeeping. And Ghana Armed Forces also have similar packages to give to the families. And the families are also entitled to the pension of the peacekeepers that fell. So there is adequate provision for these peacekeepers. And mainly for this Peacekeepers Day is to commemorate this day, to celebrate our fallen heroes that died in the quest for peace for the world.
Brigadier General, when lay people hear about peacekeeping, we are made to understand that the pay is good, they will give you some dollars, and so it's all good. But it's not all rosy, is it? There are some challenges that you have to encounter in the line of duty. Speak to us, give us an idea of what some of them are. What are the challenges here?
Yes, like Colonel Abuchi mentioned, when there is the absence of the basic principles, which I call the Trinity, when some of these are lost, then it becomes dangerous, especially these days where the operating environment has changed. So one of the dangers is the change in the operating environment, where we are now made to confront terrorists who don't have the peace for us to keep. Be aware that there should be the peace to keep, even though if there is no peace to keep, we have other principles of enforcement and robust peacekeeping that we employ to be able to achieve the mandate. So there are also logistical challenges. As you are aware, peacekeeping is quite simple but expensive. Logistics is heavy, personnel must be trained, so we have a lot of logistical challenges. You also have lack of trust from host nations, where the missions will be told, we have agreed for you to come and keep the peace. Then after a couple of days, the host nation changes its attitude, thereby endangering the lives of the peacekeepers. All of that come into bear, and also caveats that some two contributing countries are able to impose on their participation. So some of these are the challenges that peacekeepers face, despite the dollarized impression that everybody thinks that we bring back freezers and sound systems. So there are a lot of challenges that are confronted, that we are confronted with during peacekeeping.
I'll ask another one. What's your recommendation for how family and friends should support their sons, daughters, brothers and sisters, husbands and wives who are on peacekeeping missions, who may not necessarily understand the gravity of the challenges that the peacekeepers are facing? How can people support their friends and family on peacekeeping missions?
The success of every military officer depends largely on support from others. And like I said, it's a stakeholder, success these days. So families should remember that when their spouses are out there, or brothers and sisters, they need to take care of the other things that are done home, so they can have their peace of mind to deliver their goods whilst over there. Another way spiritually is to support them in prayers, because we are Africans, and even the world over, we believe that there is something out there that gives us protection. Otherwise, you also allow them to avail themselves to proper training whilst back home, so they can be very much adept to some of the tasks that they have to perform. So moral support, logistics, and spiritual support, I would say, is important to support the peacekeeper.
Let's give this one to the Colonel. You spoke to us about the heroes and the sacrifices that they made to make sure that peace is kept at the cost, at the peril of their lives. Tell us about some of the success stories. What have you been able to achieve? What have Ghanaian peacekeepers and peacekeepers in general over the world been able to achieve for the world? You've mentioned the Congo War and the troops that first president of our country, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, sent to help keep the situation there. Share some of your success stories with us.
Well, it's been said that peacekeeping cannot be 100% sure to achieve the peace. But to a large extent, UN peacekeeping had been able to do this, to the extent that UN peacekeepers were awarded a Nobel Peace Prize. Now, there are many, many success stories. I want to start with United Nations mission in Rwanda, because Ghana was in the thick of affairs when the world abandoned Rwanda, where the North, with all their logistics and weapons, abandoned. But Ghana stayed put to protect civilians. And when we look back, it gives us a big sigh of relief and a sense of achievement, having protected those that could be protected from the massacre of the other party. Now, bringing peace to our region was also key, which Ghana and peacekeepers must be proud of. I personally experienced Liberia when it wasn't even UN peacekeeping. The situation was very, very difficult. Refugees, displaced persons, with the belligerents, killing, looting. We saw it and we felt it. But we stood firm and brought lasting peace. The story of Liberia is checkered because UN intervened, brought peace, it derailed, and UN had to come back. There were a lot of lessons learned. But eventually, Liberia is on the path towards development. We saw the same in Sierra Leone, our next door Cote d'Ivoire, and particularly, we went beyond Africa, Cambodia, Yugoslavia, and I am particularly proud that I have taken part in about 6 different missions and had personal experiences that I will never forget. As a military intelligence officer of ECOMOG 11, I have to enter the rebel-infested areas to negotiate for release of prisoners. And here is a case: you have 8-year-old boys high on drugs, weapon pointing to you for 3 hours as you negotiate. You become nervous because they are not well trained. Anything can happen. Yeah. Then once you are able to get that person out, it's a very, very big sense of achievement. So peacekeeping generally gives us a lot of satisfaction, irrespective of the financial benefits.
So as you mark UN Peacekeepers Day, what's the plan, Brigadier General?
Yes. So in collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, a lot has been put in place to ensure that this day is marked. First, taking it globally, like you mentioned, tomorrow, Captain Ezua will be awarded in New York. We are very proud of her. She served as a Ghanaian officer. And we also have in-country tree planting, exercises in memory of our fallen troops. There's a peace walk, I should say, on the 27th, as well as the Touch of Peace on the same day. Then the digital media outreach, which you have kick-started, will continue throughout started on the 18th of May. And then it will be climaxed by the flag-raising ceremony on the 29th, and this will be attended by high-profile persons, including the UN resident coordinator, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Defense, and other key people to say kudos to our soldiers who keep the peace around the world.
What's the future for peacekeeping? I'll take a quick one, a very last word from you, Colonel, and then we rise.
The future for peacekeeping is that peacekeeping has come to stay. And as long as we have conflicts coming up, peacekeeping will stay with us because we must keep the global peace. The challenge we can all see is financing peacekeeping because the financiers are getting fatigued, which means that we in the global south need to put our acts together and avoid instances that will derail our countries or avoid instances that will cause conflicts between two countries to ensure that whatever peace we have is sustained.
Colonel, thank you so much, gentlemen, for making time to be at our table this morning to celebrate the upcoming UN Peacekeepers Day. Colonel William Kweku Abochi is the Director of Investigations, Ghana Headquarters at the International Peace Support Operation, and Brigadier General Winfried Jandu Hedido is Director General of the International Peace Support Operations, talking to us about UN Peacekeepers Day. Gentlemen, thank you for sitting with us. Peace in Rwanda, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire, Cambodia, Yugoslavia, and the list is endless, is largely due to the work of these honorable men and women in uniform and out of uniform who continue to protect the peace at all costs, sometimes at the peril of their lives. They are being celebrated with a series of activities. Tomorrow, Captain Ezra will be rewarded or given her award by the UN in New York. There's a tree planting exercise, peace walk, and a touch of peace also happening. Media tour will also continue ahead of the flag raising ceremony to be attended by eminent personnel within the peacekeeping circles and for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration on the 29th of May. So if you know a peacekeeper, anyone who's on peacekeeping, follow the advice and give them all the support that they need. It's not just about the dollar. So congratulations to all our men and women in uniform who are keeping the peace around the world. We continue to honor you every day. Breakfast on GTV. We'll be back.